All right, hey, shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash. All right, double honors to my elders and apostles at Great Millstone who still rule well, who have taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect out there, scattered wherever you may be, right? May Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai bless you and your household, and may you continue to endure. Shalom to you, Akim on the highways and byways, week in and week out, doing his work as Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai commanded us to do. Right? May Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai also bless you and your household, and may you also continue to endure. Right? And shalom to you believers as well, and you sincere sisters out there, all right, who are listening to this truth in obedience and in silence as the Bible commands you to do, right? May Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai bless you with a true man of the Lord in these last days. Final shalom to you Israelite foreigners, right, who don't look like your regular Israelites, but your bloodline, your seed line, and your loins go back to you being from our forefather Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel after he had wrestled with an actual angel. Okay, shalom to you, man. All right, it's your brother Dabakia from the Sons of Yasharallah, GMS Colorado Springs camp, coming to you again with another fresh live lesson. All right, fresh lunch break lesson, right? And I pray that you're edified, because that's what these lessons are about: edification and exhortation. All right. So before I begin this, I wanted to say this, where the foundation of this lesson came from. So yesterday, I'm at Whole Foods in the upstairs area, eating, minding my business. I'm just thinking, heavy in thought, man, meditating on the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what it is. And as I'm doing that, two young men, mid-20s, late 20s, they approach me and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. We were just wondering if we can talk to you about so-called Jeebus Christos, Jesus Christ. I'm like, I guess, make a long story short, they start telling me, that they have so-called Bible study between each other every so often, and they don't go to church because, church can be anywhere, which is essentially true, because the body is a temple, especially if you're an Israelite man. Our body is a temple, to be in particular, right? So I'm like, all right, man, you have a little bit of knowledge, but as I look at his partner comes off as an Edomite, straight up. He's looking all concerned, worried. And hey, we don't go off appearance, we go off of spirit, man. All right, and lineage too. So, his partner's looking a bit worried. I'm like, yo, you good? But anyway, as he's giving me this whole spiel, I'm just like, man, I'm not even going to hold you. Don't waste too much of your time. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. He started agreeing, right? And listening to what I was saying. But I had to tell him that the original tongue, the original language is that Paleo-Hebrew, and that I have a Hebrew name, which is Dabakia. And he was interested in the Paleo. And shortly enough, the scriptures started coming out. But he was like, oh, how can you prove that so-called Latinos and Native Americans are Israelites too? And I told him it's according to prophecy, man. Because check this out. Either you believe in prophecy or not. We don't care. We don't give a damn, man. This truth isn't for everybody. All right? So anyway, I ended up getting his number. And, I'll call him and say, hey, if it's the Lord's will, we'll connect and get back on that level. But I had to slice him and dice him with several scriptures. And, it brought me to this chapter. Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 1. All right, actually this whole chapter, but we're gonna start at verse 1. So anyway, let's get into it. This is the book of Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 1 in the NLT, which is the New Living Translation. All right, you see the subtitle for this: Promise Rest for God's People. We're gonna get it verbatim, okay? But as far as the Lord's Son, we'll say Yahweh Shai. All right, God's promise, verse 1. God's promise of entering his rest still stands. So we ought to tremble with fear that some of you might fail to experience it. All right. So we have that some of you that are going to fail to experience this experience this truth are 2/3 of our own people, of you 2/3 of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Man, the Lord's chosen people. All right, but you don't want to come back to this gospel. You don't want to be obedient. You want to live your life in disobedience and sin, and that's why Yahweh Bashim Yahshai is going to destroy you. He's gonna destroy you, your household, your woman, all right, your kids, etc. All right, because this truth is worldwide right now. It's mainstream, so there are no excuses. All right, but if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. That's the thing too. All right, Jake likes to just willingly be ignorant. So to hell with you 2/3, especially if you're scoffing against Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and his men, beginning with our prophets and elders at Great Millstone on down. Right, Yahweh Bahashem Shai is going to destroy you. Verse 2. For this good news that God has prepared, this rest has been announced to us just as it was to them. All right, yeah, so when we hit these highways and byways week in and week out and do these lessons, our sit-downs, our epistles, all right, we're feeding the sheep, all right, whether it be 2/3 or the elect, man. More or less, like I said, there's major camps throughout America and throughout this world. So every so often, 2/3 of our own people walk past us, like, and they scoff, talk shit, mug us. All right, but guess what? That's not going to stop us, man. This word still has to come out, because we are the messengers of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai. We are the prophets, man. When we wholeheartedly believe that. Over here at Great Millstone, we have the 100% truth, not ISUPK, not IUIC, right? Not Sakari, not Genesis, all right? Because they're not harping on prophecy. All right, they want to sit here and debate the color of the Lord and what his name is. We already know what his name is, and we know we can identify him. All right, as far as his color and his skin, he's a so-called black man. And for some reason, because of Stockholm syndrome, that's just so hard for people out there to believe. But anyway, hey, if you don't see it, it's because Yahweh Bashim Yahshai doesn't want you to see it. We don't care, honestly. Verse 2 again. For this good news that God has prepared for this rest has been announced to us just as it was to them. But it did them no good because they didn't share the faith of those who listen to God. All right, faith is a gift. You have to be born with faith. And if you want more faith, pursuant to the book of James, all right, the Lord's brother, he says to pray for more faith. Right? So we have to continuously try to live our lives in the spirit and fear Yahweh Bashim Yahshai. All right, because we don't want to fall out or bug out like niggas who came into this truth and left. All right. Apparently, you got former Israelites teaming up with Hokab Malone. All right, you niggas are shaking hands with the enemy, man. Doesn't the book of Sirach say to never trust thine enemy? And that's what you fucking Jakes are doing, man. How about you, man? Should I destroy you niggas, man? That want to sell out. And that want to keep us here in America, where we're clearly not prospering, man. Got to live in debt, pay for water, electricity, you name it, man. This place is hell. All right, hell on earth. That's why I always say, man, the white man's heaven is the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American man's hell. More proof that it's a condition, right? Because as long as these devils are in power, we have no true prosperity here. All right? Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 3. For only we who believe can enter his rest. Man, you have to believe. We have to believe in the names of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai. You have to believe that the Lord's name is Yahweh, and believe that his son's name is Yahweh Shai. You have to believe that Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, and these heathens and these different nations are going into slavery, right? You have to believe that those so-called UFOs are chariots of Israel, right? And that they're coming back to save the elect, okay? Because the Lord's not dealing with unbelief, man. And if he's not dealing with unbelief, guess what? We're not dealing with you unbelievers either. Keep it pushing, all right? Just like when these women come around, in my life, and don't give me that box within a certain period of time. I don't have time to be courting you hoes, man. You hoes are just thoughts, man. And I'm not. This is not for you sincere sisters listening to this video and listening to these lessons. This is for you worldly women, man. These hoes are just thoughts. I don't have time to try to be your man. All right, just give me the box and we can keep it pushing. Shit. Besides that, I keep it pushing because I don't. What's the point, man? All right. For only we who believe can enter his rest. As for the others, God said, in my anger, I took an oath. They will never enter my place of rest. All right, 2/3 of our own people are not going to enter Yahweh Shai's place of rest, at least at the beginning, because all Israel shall be saved eventually. But hey, when the kingdom of heaven gets established here on earth, hey, only the elect, the 1/3, and that great multitude will reign with Yahweh Shai and King David, man. All right, and the elders. Okay? Not you unbelievers, man. All right? And Yahweh Shai, he dislikes you if you're not repenting. All right? Because that black culture shit is fucking toxic, man. Every time I look up, all you see is niggas fighting in public places. The long-ass dreadlocks just being demonic, man. I mean, hey, I don't fuck with Chud, the but builder, whatever that fool's name is. But nonetheless, man, he did make a clear point about how 2/3 of our own people, 2/3 of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans really do be chimping out, and I see it with my own eyes. So, if you're a YN or YH young ho, stay the hell away from me. We don't want nothing to do with you, man. Go to IUIC. IUIC thinks all Israel can be saved. Go ahead and go over there. Over here at Great Millstone, give us our peace and solitude. All right. Even though this rest has been ready since he made the world, right? Because Yahweh Shai already knows what's going to happen. Yahweh Shai knows that I'm touching my leg right now. Yahweh Shai already knew that this person walking across the street from me was going to walk across the street. Yahweh Shai are omnipotent, right? Omnipotent. Yeah, I think that's how you say it, Salakia. Nonetheless, they're everywhere, right? Analyzing. And guess who's also analyzing for them, man? The holy angels, all right? Who are in those so-called UFOs, monitoring the earth. That's why Esau Edom is shook, man, because he knows his time is, he has a short time, pursuant to the book of Revelation, chapter 12. Even though this rest has been ready since he made the world, Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 4. All right, we know it is ready because of the place in the scriptures where it mentions the seventh day. All right. On the seventh day, God rested from all his work. All right. But in the other passage, God said, they will never enter my place of rest. Because Yahweh Shai is not dealing with you disobedient niggas out there. You disobedient Marias. You disobedient Wands. Disobedient Blue Horse. Right? And check out the time, man, on my phone, man, 11:44. And that's why I say, call halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakah Quadash, man. These lessons give me life, man. They rejuvenate my spirit. All right, we still got to be pumped in the spirit, no matter what our circumstances are, right? Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 6. So God's rest is there for people to enter, but those who first heard this good news failed to enter because they disobeyed God. Correct, man. All right, 2/3. Because ultimately, our own people, you're hearing this message first, but you still want to be disobedient by not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, not fearing Yahweh Shai, still worshiping white man Jebus, right? Just being completely demonic. All right. And you being demonic and disobedient is going to lead to your demise. If you don't know what that word demise is, go look it up. Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 7. So God set another time for entering his rest. And that time is today. All right. God announced this through David much later in the words already quoted. Today, when you hear his voice, don't harden your hearts. And that's a precept, man. That's the book of Psalms chapter 4 and verse 7. And Psalms chapter 95. And verse 8, 7 through 8, right? Go ahead and get that. If I wasn't on my lunch break, I'll go get that. But I got to get to the point of this lesson, right? Salakia. All right. Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 8. Now, if Joshua had succeeded in giving them this rest, God would not have spoken about another day of rest still to come. So even back then, because reincarnation is biblical, man. Same people that were with Joshua scoffing and whatnot are here in this generation today. And the same believers who were with Joshua back then are here in this generation today. Now, if Joshua had succeeded in giving them this rest, God would not have spoken about another day of rest still to come. So there is a special rest still waiting for the people of God. Lord's will, man. Yahweh Tazal, we see that in our generation. Verse 10, for all who have entered into God's rest have rested from their labors, just as God did after creating the world. Right? We can't rest until that kingdom comes, man, or until Yahweh Shai snatches our spirit. But nonetheless, that verse right there is referring to brothers in the truth who passed away and went to the spiritual realm, man. Now they're resting peacefully, right? And they're going to rise first. What does it say in Revelation? The dead and so-called Jeepers Christ shall rise first. So even the elect are in the spirit world right now, but they're going to rise too in that day, man. That's how beautiful and cold this Bible is, man. And see, to know those mysteries, yep, you can't take any of that for granted. I don't take any of it for granted, right? That's why when the Spirit tells me to do a lesson, I have to do a lesson, man. In fact, I had this lesson planned for last night. It's in my archives. I did it last night, but I forgot to press the unmute button on the screen record. That was on me, all right? Nonetheless, we're back, man. I'm still, no excuses. Every day, every other day, man. Got to get these lessons up, like reps in the gym, right? Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 11. So let us do our best to enter that rest. But if we disobey God, as the people of Israel did, we will fall. So we need to be obedient and not disobedient, right? Here's the point of this chapter. That I love this verse, man. This is what happened to those dudes who tried to come up to me and debate scripture, right? After I pulled out maybe 3-4 precepts, they got cut and they were hurt. Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 12. For the word of power of God is alive and powerful. It is sharper than the sharpest two-edged sword, cutting between soul and spirit, between joint and marrow. It exposes our innermost thoughts and desires. So we just have to stick to the script, not our own thoughts, not that I want, I feel spirit, man. Not that Keisha black woman spirit, man. As men, we need to be logical, stoic, and pray that Yahweh Shai removes our emotions, especially in these last days where we're continuously, right, seeing people drop dead. Hey, and it's only going to get worse. That MOTB, right, that RFID microchip, that's on the horizon. That's near. That's already here. And eventually, Esau Edom's going to make it mandatory for everybody here on planet Earth to get that CHIP, which is also referred to in the book of Revelation as the hour of temptation. Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 13. Nothing in all creation is hidden from God. Everything is naked and exposed before his eyes, and he is the one to whom we are accountable. That's explanatory, man. Yahweh Shai is constantly on the watch, and will hold us accountable for everything that we're doing here on earth, which is why we here at Great Millstone are big on repenting. All right, final few verses. It says right here, all right, it says Christ is our high priest. His name is Hamashiach. That's the last name of Yahweh Shai. Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 14, 144, man, call Allah Yahweh Shai. So then, since we have a great high priest who has entered heaven, Yahweh Shai, the son of power, let us hold firmly to what we believe. All right, hold on to this truth. Whatever you do, no matter what you're going through in life, man, you have to continuously fight, all right, for the kingdom to come and for Yahweh Shai to deliver his elect, man. So then, where's I at? Who has entered heaven, Yahweh Shai, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to what we believe. The high priest of ours understands our weaknesses, for he faced all the same testings we do, yet he did not sin. So let us come boldly to the throne of our gracious God. There we will receive his mercy and we will find grace to help us when we need it most. All right? All right. So with that being said, I pray that you were edified by this lesson. It was a quick one, quick hit. All right. I pray that you were edified. I'm going to close out this lesson, though, by saying, Call halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Chodash. All right. I'll be back with more, man. Shalom.